a message on conscious living, conscious evolution. Ethereal mission, heavenly mission. We are celebrating our 40th anniversary. And today I have with me a very dear brother of mine. I also call him my teacher. It is so, aren't you? Reverend Dr. Reverend Dr. Sasu, during our launching of our 40th anniversary, he shared something profound on our topic, conscious living, conscious evolution, where we go many years, so it's not quite surprising that we just bounce each other's thoughts. And his message was so profound. I believe we need a deeper understanding of this sacred message on a conscious living, conscious evolution. So today, we are discussing this master topic, conscious living, conscious evolution. What does it mean to you? Many people live and they're not even conscious of their breath. Often I ask somebody, what nostril are you breathing from? And they'll tell me, oh, from both nostrils. And I say, okay, just breathe to the back of your hand. They do it and tell me, I'm stronger in the left. I say, when you are stronger in the left, the body is very alkaline. When you are stronger in the right, the body is very acidic. So you live and you know the fuel you put into your car, but you don't know what's going into your body moment by moment, even through your breathing. This is what conscious living is about. To know who and what you are. Why do you think the thoughts you think? What is the anatomy of thinking and feeling? Why are you the way you are? Why do you think the thoughts you think, the attitudes, the behaviors you have? To understand the root cause of these, then you are actually living consciously. Conscious living means you can choose your thoughts, you can choose your feelings. And the richest man on planet is the one who can choose his thoughts and feelings. So having this wonderful brother of mine with his great knowledge, Reverend Dr. Samuel Sasu, to discuss with us conscious living, conscious evolution. And you speaking about the Ghana Minister for Center for Spiritual Awareness. You're welcome, brother.
Thank you. Thank you very much, my brother. And thank you for the nice compliment. When we talk about conscious living, conscious evolution, let us look at the word conscious. To be conscious is to be aware of oneself.
Mm-hmm.
But then you ask yourself, aware of oneself as what? Because most people are just aware of their bodies. You know, you ask a person...
And even their bodies, are they fully aware of the body?
You ask someone, where is your stomach? And he will point here. Meanwhile, the stomach is... You know, the other day, someone, I asked someone, he said, oh, I think I have appendicitis. And I said, where are you feeling the pain? And he said, here. I said, but your appendix is not there, you know. So it's very funny how people are aware of the fact that they are living, they are conscious of life, but they do not have a greater awareness of what they really are. What we normally say to people, and when you look at the definition, conscious living, conscious evolution, you see, evolution has to do with change in a certain order that fulfills itself.
I love that.
Yeah.
Change in a certain order that fulfills itself.
Yeah. Because, you see, this is what will lead us to actually talk about the 7 levels of soul unfoldment. You see, how we have unfolded. And you notice that in the Christian Bible, they talk about the creation story, 7 days of creation.
That's correct.
And you will see that it goes from the gross to the subtle. It goes from simple life forms to very complex.
Right.
Okay?
You mean it goes from dense material
Right.
to very lighter spiritual material.
Absolutely. And in metaphysics, we say that.
You know what I'm doing? And when you were talking, I have to re-explain it in simpler language. And everybody keeps telling me that I also speak very high, and I need someone to moderate me. So today I'm also moderating you.
You know, so what normally happens is that when you look at creation, okay, you will find out that they talk about the 7 days of creation. In metaphysics, we say that creation is the outbreathing of God. Okay, so it's like God breathes out, push it out creation, and then begins to draw it back to itself. So the outbreathing goes to the grossest, and as the inbreathing comes, okay, life begins to unfold itself from gross to the subtle.
Okay.
You understand? And as it moves from the gross.
So if I will explain, you see, so God is already loaded with every matter, every creation, the creative substance. It breathes it fully into being, and with the in-breath, it is refined.
Right, it's drawing everything back to the source. And as it gets closer, the closer it gets to the source, the more conscious it becomes.
The final state of the gross matter start appearing.
Thank you. So you will see that when you look at creation, you will see that, you know, it goes and it tells you, oh, the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and God said, let there be light, and then separated the light from the darkness, and it goes on about the earth and the trees.
The darkness was upon the face of the deep, was speaking of the field of infinite potentiality.
Absolutely.
Very dense, condensed energy.
Absolutely.
Very gross, but it contains everything within it.
Yes. And now it calls itself forth, and you will see that like maybe you have the mineral kingdom coming, and then you have the animal kingdom coming, and the human kingdom coming.
Yes.
To be the epitome, you know, to be to crown it all. But then they talk about the 7th day, in which God rested from his works. You know, the 7th day. Meanwhile, they are talking about creation.
All right.
And then they talk about the 7th day of creation where there is rest. Okay? So, when you look at all of this, you ask yourself, what has it got to do with you and myself? We say that the human being is a microcosm, a smaller part of a macrocosm, a bigger or a larger part. That everything that is contained in the larger universe is also contained within man. And so these 7 levels are also contained within man. And if you know something about the anatomy of man, the brain and the spinal pathway, you see that is when the egg is fertilized by the sperm. It forms into the embryo, but we call it the zygote. Okay, it looks like a tadpole, and that is the brain and the spine. Okay, and then the body begins to form around it. Now, inside the spine and the brain are these 7 levels. And they are known in yoga as chakras or wheels.
Scientifically, they call them the nerve centers.
Right.
So
plexuses.
Yes. So science is actually following spirituality.
Absolutely. And they will, the yogis will tell you that at the base of the spine, at the sacrum, is the grossest, the densest aspect, and the crown, the 7th level, is the highest aspect. So that if one can withdraw energy from the base of the spine to the crown of the head, then one can attain that Sabbath, that day of rest, where you go beyond words and thoughts, where you go beyond all works, so to speak, and you can fully rest.
So fully in spirit means I'm resting.
Thank you. You shall find rest unto your souls.
It has drawn the energy from the lower places
right
to its finest spiritual state.
Absolutely, my
Beautiful.
brother. You see, and what normally happens is that the first level, you see, when we are talking about conscious living, conscious evolution. Now, when we see the 7 levels, then we can ask ourselves, how can we consciously activate this? How can we move from one level to the next level? Because we are always talking about moving to the next level.
In that way, we are participating in our own evolution.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And that's what we are here to do.
Yes.
To evolve. Everybody is here on planet Earth to evolve for the promotion of life.
Yes.
You did not bring you here. You cannot afford not to be here. You cannot resist exiting from here. In this window of eternity, you are here to evolve. Evolve means to be more. Not more materially. We don't mean more to be fatter, but more in terms of what you are as spirit.
Absolutely.
Because before you were even formed, you were a spirit. I like it when, is it Jeremiah 1:5 says, before I formed you, I know you.
Yes.
And whilst you were in the womb, I ordained you. So you were a spiritual idea in the mind of God, and you are returning back to a spiritual idea.
Absolutely.
Thank you, my brother.
See, so now we can get to the levels of soul unfoldment. See, when you look at unfoldment and evolution, it's just a play of words. Unfoldment is right. Unfoldment is like something that is covered and
it's opening up.
Right, it's opening up.
The flower
is
opening up.
You see, so it's like as the flower opens up, it creates more space, so to speak, less confinement.
Yes.
Less confinement. So,
more ability.
Right. So it's like you are moving into greater expressions of yourself. Okay? You are getting to, unfold and express yourself in a higher and a better and a more freer way. Now, the first level is living according to the dictates of the senses.
I love it.
Yeah. In our local language, Ghana, we have a saying, "Adunke mihine Jimmy Wong," and literally translated, the monkey says, "My eye is my God." It's my juju.
Yes, my God.
Right, it's my God. Now, which means that if my eyes cannot see it, then it does not exist. Okay? And a lot of people live like that, living according to the dictates of the senses. What they see, what they smell, what they taste, what they hear and what they touch defines their reality. Anything beyond that, they are at sea. Now,
in other words, they are confused.
Absolutely. And that is, that leads us to where we say, oh, let us eat, drink, and be merry, for tomorrow we die. People live at that particular level just for that.
In the tree song, sa 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 sa, muma ye numpio,
yeah.
Let's eat, drink, because the coffin is
absolutely
hot. So they're just living according to the flesh. And please, I'd like you to explain that deeper, because when you go to Scripture confirms this in Genesis 3 verses 1 to 17. He said, Adam saw the fruit. Adam and Eve, they saw the fruit, and it was pleasing to the sight and good for food.
Thank you.
In other words, they were just locked up in senses.
Yes.
Sense-driven, sense-motivated, sense-directed, fulfilling everything that will give them sense pleasure.
Absolutely.
And that's the level of the basis. So it talks about how man had fallen to that level of the senses.
Right.
And that is level 1.
Level 1.
Right.
And you see, do you think it's any wonder that Adam failed the first test? See, they asked Adam about location, geography. Adam, where are you? And you know his answer, I'm naked. So Adam, where are you? Instead of saying I'm under this tree or I'm in the garden, he said I'm naked. What has where are you?
When I'm in Kumasi in London, I am naked. I love that. Thank you so much.
And it shows you the identification. You see, it shows you his identification. He had become so identified with his body that it's like, I am the body. Okay, I am the body. And that is where most people start from.
So everything he's fishing for is just for the body.
Yes.
And there's something else beyond the body, but he doesn't care. It's for the body now.
Yes. Then
Level
you
one.
see that the second level, man begins to become aware not only of his environment, but also internally, maybe his dreams, okay, and his thoughts maybe, and becomes very, very superstitious. You remember when people thought that God, like thunder, was God riding his chariot? you
yes. But when we were growing up, we were taught that whenever it's raining, then God is showing some mercy. And I recall a very ugly one. I don't know how to say, but I say that when God is wee-weeing, then it becomes the
yes.
rain, right? And so on. So we really believe that God is up there.
Yes, and it create, in our, seriously speaking, my brother, this particular second level is the level which I personally label the superstitious level, the level of superstition.
Yes.
See, we don't have an understanding. We have moved from the gross being, absorbed grossly in our senses, and we are becoming a little bit aware of our environment, but we don't have an understanding of what is happening. Okay, we've not been able to put our finger on exactly. Look, why is the sun there? You know how the ancient ones interpreted, okay, the sun. They said that the sun was rather revolving around the earth. It rises and sets.
And sets. And still people believe that the sun rises in the east and sets in the west.
And people look at the horizon and they think that is the end of the earth. And then also people started noticing their dreams and started giving interpretations to their dreams. People started looking, they started becoming aware of their thoughts. They didn't know how to really use their mind, but they started becoming aware
conscious of their thoughts.
Right. But then they didn't know what
it really is.
Right. Okay. And this is where we find most people who are religious are locked into this, because most of the religious thinking is based on superstition.
That is true.
The Lord's Prayer, when it was translated to us, we were told,
Our Father who art in the sky.
Yes.
In heaven.
Yes. But you see, the people who translated it to us, or for us, didn't know God and didn't know that the kingdom is within. You see?
Till today, do they know that the kingdom of God is within each one of us?
But that is why I'm saying that most of the religions are based on superstition.
Locked up there.
Because you see that the irony of the situation is that they rather think you are wrong. And that is why a lot of people were ostracized. Scientists of old, okay, were told that they were accused of being witches and wizards and
Galileo.
Galileo.
He was even put into the heretic dress for saying that the earth is round.
Absolutely.
Eventually he has to denounce his own scientific observation so that he could be free. Because when you were in the heretic dress, it means nobody could talk to you. I mean, everybody's afraid if they associate with you, they will also be branded.
Mm-hmm.
And those were the days of the Inquisition.
Absolutely.
So think of the number of thousands of people, millions of people who have been killed for just saying that the earth is
Yes.
round.
And now, you see, the same way, we have moved from the earth is flat, the ground is the earth, and the sky is heaven. But you see, when you look at the globe, we in Ghana are on the equator, about the equator in the middle. So actually, if we are pointing to the sky as heaven, we are pointing sideways. So. Those people in Australia down under, when they point to heaven, and if hell is down, then they are in hell, because when they point, they are pointing down. But everywhere you point is the sky.
Yes.
You understand? Everywhere you point is the sky. And this beautiful thing still eludes a lot of people. Simple
Even
to
now.
understand. Yes, it
Even
eludes
now.
a lot of people. So you see, we can all be on planet Earth, but our level of awareness will be different. There is one person who only believes in what his senses tells him. Another person is slightly aware and giving all manner of interpretation to what they are seeing. And you know in the Mayan kingdom, they were slaughtering human beings to appease the sun. Every day they had to kill someone, or else they felt that the day they did not kill someone, the sun will not rise. You know, that was their belief. Can you imagine this?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you kill a person so that the sun will rise.
God.
But they did that.
Yes.
And now we have moved away from that, because maybe one day they found out that maybe only 2 people left. You know, but
The superstition is very, very deep.
yes.
Till today, many people don't know that even when you sneeze, what do they say? Bless you.
Bless you.
And that is actually superstition, because they
Yes.
believe that when you sneeze, your soul comes out.
Mm-hmm.
And if no one blesses you, then the evil spirit will get hold of you and you'll be dead. So as soon as I sneeze, it's it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't hear you bless me.
Oh, because you know, I tell you, when I was growing up, this sneezing matter, you know, some people also think it's bad luck, you know.
Yes.
So there was this lady, and she sneezed, and then the doctor said, "And why do you sneeze on me this morning?" And then the mother said, "Mokoloki and mokogugomi."
Is somebody's luck in somebody's nostrils? Is somebody's luck in another person's nostrils? I love that.
You know, so you know, that is the level of superstition.
Mr. Superstition, please, you need to really elaborate this, because it's very strong.
Yes.
We're living in fear of witches, wizards. We wake up, we go to church, we see people binding their enemies, their witches, the wizards, and so on. Sometimes they do so much, you ask yourself, then where is the power of God?
Thank you. I'll tell you this, my brother.
Now, the witches, the wizards, and the devil, they have gained more prominence in our churches than God.
Absolutely.
And people are now imagining. I mean, I've had cases of a woman, you know, I have a clinic, you have a clinic too. And I mean, HealthWorks is a very beautiful clinic. And my brother, Reverend Dr. Sasu, runs it. And at Three Mission, we have our herbal and naturopath healing methods. You have a woman who had been to 1,000 places. And each place, she's been told she's pregnant. 18 months pregnant. One look at her and I say, go for pelvic scan, because I can see that you are having fibroids.
Absolutely.
She returned, proving that she was having fibroids. But when I went to that pastor, I don't want to mention them.
I know.
And Reverend so-and-so, Dr. So-and-so, the miracle man, he said it is pregnancy. They have started on it. Another one said they've put my womb on a tall tree. Another one said they buried. So they've given you choices of where your womb is located for you to make your selection. Which one do you choose?
It's sad. It's really sad.
So you want to share from what I'm hearing that the many of the, well, you said it from the beginning, that That's where the church is operating from now.
Absolutely.
Many people in church are operating from level 2.
Yes.
The realm of superstition. Unneeded fear.
Yes.
They go, they sleep, they dream of witches hunting them. You see, you eat spicy food, you go to bed, you're going to have bad dreams. And when you are having fears, anxieties, and tension within you, the mind will want to tell you that you are doing some harm to your system. And the mind only thinks in terms of pictures. When I say come, inke, ba, bra, the mind has the same picture. So the mind will give you a picture of what you are doing to you, and it gives the pictures of dogs chasing you, you running, and then you wake up to say that the witches are troubling you. And often when they come to the pastor, and I've had that thousands of times, they tell you what they want you to tell them. They start by telling you the nature of the dreams I'm having. I'm sure that me fearful.
Absolutely.
My home people are doing something. They've already conditioned you what you should tell them. So just tell them a little bit more of it, and tell them to bring some black sheep.
Oh yeah.
And some white goat and some
handkerchiefs and some pieces of cloth.
10,000 Ghana cedis, because the witchcraft power is very, very strong, and then they rush for this. The realm of superstition, and that's where many people in church are.
Yeah.
Please don't let me take your word if you may carry on.
You know, I read, someone sent me a WhatsApp message, and it was talking about a certain version of the Bible. You know, you have the King James Version, the New International Version, one version of the Bible. And the person was trying to say that, oh, that version of the Bible, if you read it, you know, there are lots of misinterpretations and I said, look here, you know, the Bible was printed in, you know, a printing press. Okay, people wrote it down. Okay, I'm not, you know, there's a lot of truth in it, but you do know that some people sleep with the Bible under their pillow. You see, it is not the words in the Bible, but your understanding.
Correct.
They say, get wisdom, but with all that getting,
get understanding.
So if you do not understand, then you will be superstitious.
Correct.
You know, so we need to have a level of understanding. So then it moves to the next phase. The next level is the level of cause and effect, the level of intellect.
You begin to understand the operational law of the mind and feeling.
Yes.
You begin to understand how you send out a thought and that it can really crystallize into something.
Absolutely.
And you start being more conscious.
Thank you.
Of those inner realms of thoughts and feelings.
Now you are beginning to you know, gain a little bit of understanding.
Yes.
A little bit of understanding. You know that
the nature of the working of your spirit through mind and feeling can produce certain results.
Yes.
You start now understanding this.
Right. But you see, a lot of people stop here. You have a lot of people, you know, that is where you develop the intellect. You go to school and you go to become maybe a professor. Okay? You are highly intellectual, but you do not still know. You know, because you're not reason beyond the level of the mind. Okay? So now you are beginning to understand the mind, but in a limited way. You see, you know that, oh, if you mix maybe red, the color red and blue, you get indigo.
Yes.
Okay? You know how we were fascinated by this in school when we wanted the color green, and you mixed yellow and blue, and then you get a green, then you get another shade of green, and you're like, wow, now fascinated with their level of human intelligence. You know that now you sow and you reap. Okay? Now the metaphysician comes here. Okay? The metaphysician knows the law of cause and effect, because he is operating beyond the physical.
And by the word metaphysics, you mean going beyond the physical.
Going beyond
the
metaphysics.
Yes.
So meta is beyond and physics is
matter or the physical.
Right. And so this is where we get, but then this is where we also make a lot of mistakes, because now you become a dictator. Okay, you think that you can order the world, you can do this, you can do that, and your actions are not wisdom guided. Now,
they even order God.
Yes.
Get up, God. I'm going to that wedding, and God, please make sure. I need a red bag to match with the red shoe.
Absolutely.
And the red dress I'm going to wear. And the other man says, sorry, I'm having my farm, let it rain. Oh, no, let it be dry. So now we start even ordering God. God becomes the porter. We command everything. We want to even command God to obey our human wishes.
And that is the temptation that Jesus went through, to turn stones into bread. But you see, always, my bro, I say that the concept of the devil made a big mistake. You don't break a fast with bread. So that was the wrong thing even to ask for. You
Yes.
The guy has been fasting, and then you say, okay, you are hungry, so change stones into bread. I would say, my friend, if you had even asked me that I should change it into apple or juice or whatever, or water, you understand?
Made sense.
That would have made sense. That would have been more tempting. But this one, wrong from the beginning, wrong question, wrong request. So I'm not even going to accede to it. Come on, get out of here. So get in here, get out of here. Now, you see.
And people in the superstitious world believe that there was a physical devil standing there.
Yes.
They have no knowledge that he has reached the level where, if he were to descend to the realms of metaphysics, he could, with his mind, create things.
Yes.
And that's where also pomposity comes in.
Yes.
Let me show power for somebody to trust me.
Thank you. Thank you. That was what I was saying. But you see, he said that man does not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of God, which means that we live by divine inspiration. Just don't go doing things by heart, haphazardly.
Correct.
You live by divine inspiration because there is an intelligent power that is running this universe, and we can learn to cooperate with it.
So, in other words, there was the flesh desire of level 1, and then there was the sense desire, the fleshly sense desire of level 1, and there was level 2, and in level 3 he has the ability to really fulfill the sense appetite.
Yes.
But then he said, no, let me direct everything to spirit. Man shall not live by sense appetites alone.
Thank you.
You don't live by fulfilling your sense appetites. You live by fulfilling the inspiration of spirit.
Yes.
Let me direct every desire I want must be spirit motivated and guided, and not sense
that is why
directed and motivated.
Sometimes you have to look at the word. To inspire is to breathe into. Spirit must breathe its ideas into mind. Okay, that is why we call it inspiration. To breathe into. So spirit breathes ideas into the mind, and it's like tuning a radio. So let's say we have a radio GOD.
Yes.
Okay, and you know that scientifically, all radio frequencies are here and now.
Yes.
But you just need to. The tuning is the direction of attention, okay? Direction of focusing our energy at a particular point.
Correct.
And then you are able to tune into that frequency.
So you can tune into Unique FM,
right?
Joy FM,
right?
Or whatever station you find yourself in your country.
So you can tune into any state, okay? You can tune into any state, but it depends on what your desire. When I say your desire, what your actual goal is. Let's say your goal, your real goal is. Now, so from the third level, you see that you need to be spirit directed.
Correct.
And this is where we begin discipleship. Now, discipleship is to move now into the realm of spirit. You are taking an action to move into the realm of spirit. You are beginning to focus your attention on that which is spiritual.
Correct.
Okay? Now, so you had your maybe.
So if I really get you, today our television screens are loaded with people calling themselves apostles. Apostles means high disciple. Apostle this, apostle that. You just take the transport. When you reach this particular station, get up, come and see me. I'll do this for you, and God bless you. We hear this. We hear so much of that.
With you.
So actually, they've not even reached discipleship.
No.
They are in level 3 of they are in level 2, level 3 of pomposity, a bit of mind knowledge, a bit of sense pleasure. Because they are actually promising you sense pleasure.
Yes.
Come and I'll give you more of sense anchorage. I will support you to get more of your sense desires. It's not about come and I will help you discover the God that you are, the God that is in you, so you will awaken to the power presence of God in you. No. So they are actually not even reach the level of discipleship.
No, they have
Thank
not.
you, my brother.
They have not. You see, and like you're saying, give you a story. Do you know, because this is to show some of our people some of these tricks. I was told a story one time. A pastor who was taking lessons from me had another friend pastor of his visit with him and said, you sit there and follow that man, you'll be poor till you die. And he said, why? He said, look, go outside, go and look at my car. Now come and let me show you the trick. You know, if you put glycerin and potassium permanganate together, there's combustion. Okay? And you know what they do? They will tell you, oh, I am going to fast for you. And so he goes into fasting, and by the way, when he's fasting, you have to pay him. Because you see, he's not going to eat. So all the things that he will use to break the fast, you have to provide, you see. Plus, he's going to put his stomach down for you. So you go and pay the money. Now, after you pay the money, then he comes and he tells you that whilst praying, the angel of God brought him some heavenly nectar, okay,
or oil.
Yeah. Now, so he shows you this transparent thing, but you know it is not water, but it is glycerin, okay. Now, so he shows it to you. He said, this is heavenly nectar. Now, you go and write all of your problems and bring it to me. Bring your problems to me. Write, put them on paper and bring them. So you bring them, and then on the appointed day, he has a piece of cotton wool, and he says, now I'm going to drop some of this heavenly nectar onto this cotton wool. Now, unknown to you, inside the cotton wool is potassium permanganate. Okay. So he drops it on it, and then combustion begins to take place. But you know that the cotton wool will make it flame. So you put it in the envelope, and he tells you, hold it. He's not holding it. You hold it, and it starts getting warm. And then the next thing you see, boom. But meanwhile, he's going, the God of fire, fire, consume his bad luck. And he said you want to burn
devils.
So suddenly you find, boom, the thing gets inflamed. And what happens? You think, oh, all my troubles are gone. You see, psychologically, if you think all your troubles are gone,
they will be gone.
They will be gone.
But you could make them go without even going through all of this and paying all that.
Right.
Right.
And so
there's another one recently that was really even on a WhatsApp. It's very interesting. So the man had been with this pastor for years, and they broke off, and he started to tell the story of what is happening. You see, they use potassium permanganate, and then when you come, they rub your feet with It's like they are massaging it. And then later on, the pastor comes, the disciples will rub it like a powder rubbing on your feet, praying for you. Then the pastor comes and says, okay, let's now start the work. Then they put your foot in water, put some permanganate on your feet, so it becomes blood. So when they start dissolving the water, it becomes blood. Then they add whatever stories they want to it. How some witches and now the evil blood is now coming out by their command and by their prayer and so on. I mean, it's a shame.
You see what lack of knowledge.
I'm happy I'm not called a pastor. I'm happy my name is Brother Ishmael Tetteh.
One time
they are desecrating the name.
Yes.
They are desecrating the name.
And so, like after we have said all of this, we have now reached the fourth level, the level where we begin to awaken spiritually. And when they say
that's the level of discipleship? Yes.
Yeah, the level of the fourth level. Now, that level of discipleship, it comes from discipline, okay? To train oneself. Discipline is not punishment. To train oneself to be focused on the ideal. Jesus said, if you continue in my word, then are ye my disciples indeed.
Correct.
And ye shall know the truth.
And the truth shall set you free.
Free from these three lower levels. You understand? It will set you free from ignorance.
The demands of Jesus, if Christianity will follow it 1/10, there would have been peace on earth.
Absolutely.
The man did not offer bread and cake. He said, whoever comes after me and does not hate his mother and father, and even his own flesh, cannot be my disciple. I mean, you must let go of all of those flesh appetites.
Yes.
All right, your own sensory appetites. Hate your mother and father means you must free yourself from all of the past, your comfort zones, what you are identified with. And if not, and then focus. It's calling for total surrender, total focus.
Yes.
Nothing of your past, present, or future will move you from the Christ ideal. That's discipleship.
Yes.
Wow.
And you see, he said something about, come unto me,
all ye that labor
and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke. You see, yoke is union, is to bind.
Join.
Yeah, you see, so you join with the master principle. You join with the Christ principle.
In other words, connect your consciousness to my consciousness.
Yes.
Your thinking to my thinking.
Yes.
Your awareness to my awareness.
Yes. You see, one guru, that is a being, an awakened soul, attracting others to God, said, tune in to me and you tune in to God. Remain attuned to me. Remain attuned to me. There must be an attunement with the master. That is where one seeks the disciple who is ready to take that next step into the realm of spirit must look for a guide who knows it. So they say when the disciple is ready,
the master
appears. And this is where we learn the principles of life. So you will see that there are four stages if you are to be successful on the spiritual path. And this is where conscious living, conscious evolution begins. From the level of discipleship.
That's correct.
Now, first is self-discipline. That is training yourself. Because you see, you can listen to the teacher, you can listen to the guru. You know what my spiritual preceptor, Roy Jean Davis, said to me was that, son, on this path, we learn by doing.
And he's right.
Yes. You can only learn by doing. You can read our brother, Bosaki, Reverend Bosaki, late Reverend Bosaki.
Okay.
He gave us a story. He says, if you want to learn how to swim, you can buy the best swimming costume. You can read all the books on swimming, but there is no way you can learn how to swim until you hit the water. So he says, you want to learn how to swim, hit the water. Which means, you've got to take appropriate steps. And without taking those necessary steps, forget about it. Now, so the spiritual master directs you to focus on the ideal. Then you ask, what is the ideal? So you must know about the nature of life. You must know what you are. You must get information, and you are given direction. This is what you are. You are a spiritual being. You must
get information.
Yes.
Not out formation.
Not out formation.
So information means the inner spirit must give you the form of the way you must live.
Absolutely.
So it's coming from inside. In formation, not out formation.
Yes.
Because many people are living by out formation. What they hear, what they are told, that becomes their form, and that is level 3, level 2. So when you are here, you must now start connecting to the spirit and receive information.
You see, now, so who are you? Where have you come from? Why are you here? Where do you go from here? What is the nature of life? What is your purpose?
Who are you? Where do you come from?
Yeah.
Why are you here? And where are you going from here?
See, these are things that you need to know, because then it will give you a sense of purpose. Because if you know that you are a spiritual being, that you are made in the image and likeness of God, then it means that you have all the attributes and characteristics of God. So you don't need to go and find harmony out of yourself. You don't need to go and find love out of yourself.
Amen.
You don't need to go and find prosperity out of yourself.
Amen.
They are all within you, and you can unfold them.
Amen.
You've got to learn how to unfold them. Nowadays, people say, oh, come to my church and experience a miracle. You know something? A miracle is my oracle. A miracle is my oracle. You see, formerly, people used to go to oracles for the oracle to tell them about what will happen to them. Okay?
And how to live.
Yeah. Now, people will go to Jesus expecting some kind of good. And he will ask them, do you believe that this thing that you are asking can be done? They say yes. Then he tells them, according to your faith. He says, according to your faith, be it done unto you. Not his Jesus' faith, but your faith. So, my oracle, what do you say will happen? But then you must go to the divine and get that divine idea. Because if you want to know of your purpose, can you imagine a mango tree with, if you go and tie pawpaw and oranges on mango trees, does it look prosperous? But a lot of people think that when you have a car and you have a house, that is prosperity. No, prosperity, shalom, prosperity, thriving, flourishing is allowing
you to be more of you.
Thank you.
So if you want love, you receive information to form yourself in the image and likeness of love.
Wow. Yeah.
And so is peace, so is everything.
Yes. Because all of the things, you see, everything that you need out there has a spiritual source.
Because the forest is in the seed. If the seed wants to become a plantation, it must simply grow itself.
Thank you.
To become the plantation.
Yes.
It shouldn't go and borrow somebody else's seed.
That's it.
And plant in itself for it to become a plantation.
Thank you.
It just doesn't work that way.
Yes.
If not, you are still in the lower levels.
Yes. And you see, once you are able now to rest in spirit, okay, that is why Jesus said the disciple is not above his master, but when he has become perfect, that is the criteria. When he has become perfect, when your practice and your spiritual, you are perfected. You know, we say practice makes perfect. So when you have perfected your spiritual practice, you have studied.
So at this level 4, your consciousness is more of I am a spirit.
Yes.
And you start now
exploring yourself.
What are the capabilities? What are the possibilities of spirit?
Yes.
Once again, the book of Jeremiah comes to mind when he says, before I formed you, I know you. In other words, before you were formed, you were a spiritual idea in the mind of this creative love intelligence you choose to call God. You were a spiritual idea. And whilst you were in the womb, I ordained you. In the womb, you were still what? A spiritual idea. Because you could kick. You could move. So you were a spirit before you were formed in the dust of your mother's womb. And without spirit, you can't move a hand.
No.
So you are still what? A spirit. But people are living, they're not even conscious that they are spirit. They go to funeral. They see that the body of the man and woman you know is lying there. Something is gone out. What is that something? That something is making me be able to live, move, wave my hand. What is that something that I am that animates this life? That something must be my life. Then you start the 4th stage living. You start exploring. What is this something that I choose to call spirit? What is its nature? Then you start knowing its potential, its capabilities.
Absolutely.
And you start surrendering to discipleship. You are now surrendering to its direction.
Absolutely.
And no more direction of the senses, but now of the spirit. From S to S.
You see?
From senses to spirit.
So, you see, there is this story about a monk. They simply called him Brother Lawrence. And he turned to the path of discipleship this way. He was sitting down one day during winter and he was looking at a tree. You know, in winter, in fall, all the leaves fall off the tree, and then in winter, the tree stands bare.
Dead, almost.
Yeah. Now, in that state of hibernation, he was looking at the tree and started contemplating, pondering, and he said, you know, come spring, something will happen in this tree and it will bring forth leaves, and by summer it will bear its fruit. Okay? Now, what is this something that makes this tree alive? Isn't it that same something within this form that makes it alive? And that is what set him on the path. Like you said, you know, the 4th level.
Yes.
Now.
So that observation activated in him the awareness that there is something more than mine. And people go to funerals and they don't wake up to there is something more.
Yes.
So when you go to funeral, you must now wake up to I am more than this.
This form.
I am not just a sculpture. I am more than this form.
You see, and then when you get to the level of master, you have been able to become stable in your spiritual awareness. You are able to work things through your mind. But there is another thing that you need to do, and that is to begin to behold spirit in all. You know, someone will ask you, so was there spirit in Hitler? You understand?
Correct.
You mean so Hitler's spirit too one day can go to God? You know,
there are people who are new to the world who have no idea what Hitler is. Where maybe they have to read the Second World War,
right,
to know about the role
of, like we can say maybe Saddam Hussein,
or, yes,
any of the dictators, you know. But the thing is that all of us are spiritual beings, and we must learn to behold the one in all. And that
to
is
behold
a
the one in all. Please, you want to say that again?
Yeah.
To behold the one in all. The one has become all things,
Yes.
including you.
Yes. You see,
And that is still level 4.
No. We have moved from level 4 now to level 5. The level 5 is the level of master. Okay.
Correct.
Now, at the level of mastership, that is where I said, now you have become stabilized in your awareness of yourself as spirit, and you have control of your mind, okay, and your senses. That is what you have mastered.
Rule through them.
Right. You have mastered.
You don't see them as enemies.
No.
They are also part of the cosmic plan.
Mm-hmm.
But now you know their role. The light can shine through the glass, but it knows it is not the glass.
Mm-hmm.
It knows I'm using the glass to break out the spectrum of my abilities.
Mm-hmm.
When light passes through prism, then you see it breaks out the spectrum of its colors, where every color represents a quality of spirit or God. So here, the light is the spirit that you are. You can break through the glass and you know that you are not the glass anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here to express me.
Yes.
Right.
So that is where you know for sure that I'm a
And at that level, you see the one in all.
That is the level of master. Now the master has to move to the next level where he is able to see the one in all.
That is level 6.
Level 6. And that level 6 is the Christ
Mind.
That is the level. You see, that level.
Then give me some more exposition on the realms of the master. Level 5.
Yes. You see, at level 5, you rule your mind, you rule your body, and in turn, your environment. But you see, at that particular point also, you have some limitations. When I say limitations, you see that I'll share some. You see that when people will come to Jesus, he will say, "Son, your sins are forgiven." You see, he is able to behold the Christ. So he says, "Son," not you understand? He is calling forth your true nature, that you are a son, you are a child of God. So he says, "Son, I am not holding, I free you, I see you free, I'm beholding your true nature." Okay?
He recognizes the divine
yes.
in that person.
Yes. And
he does not allow the person's state
yes.
to become his awareness.
No.
Because the moment you see the evil in someone, you have become evil.
Thank you.
Because the evil you see in the person is in your mind, not in the other person's mind.
Yes.
So he will not allow the appearance to become his awareness.
Yes.
He looks through the appearance and sees the beloved presence and says, "Son,
your sins are forgiven." I'm not holding your so-called karma, your thoughts, your feelings, which has crystallized into this challenge, but I see you as perfect. And that is what he calls for. Okay.
And that's what he did also in the ocean.
Yes.
When the storm was raging.
He said peace. He called it peace is an attribute of God.
Be still.
Be still.
Peace.
Yes.
Show forth your stillness.
Thank you.
The word be means a state of being.
Yes.
So peace, show forth your stillness.
Yes.
And the peace said, "I am stillness."
Yes. At the level of masterhood, you get. But when you reach the 6th level, the Christ level, then you are beholding the one in all. And this is where, to teach us how to do that, we are taught. We are taught to say namaste. Namaste means I behold
the divine in
you. You see? So when, like the practice, the spiritual practice, because we are all masters. Okay? The spiritual practice.
You know what? You keep where you are. Everybody wants to go to heaven where they will be kings. Who will be the servants? Kings and queens. Who will be the servant?
The greatest amongst you must be the
servant. The servant.
You see? If you have a business and you know that all your clients are God in disguise, how would you serve them? So, we all must begin to learn how to behold the one in all by just doing this thing. In whatever, they say, acknowledge him in all your ways. Okay? So
in all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your path.
You see, when you are able to acknowledge is to recognize and declare. So recognize God in everything, in every situation,
in every person.
Yes, and make that declaration to yourself. So
even if the body is rotting, just simply be aware that the hand of God is in this situation.
Absolutely.
The power of God is operating in this situation.
Absolutely.
Nothing in the external can move you.
No. And once you become stabilized in that, you have awakened to the Christ consciousness. Level 6. Now, the 7th level is the supremely free. You know, they say, to him that overcometh, I will make a pillar in the temple of my God, and he shall no more go out. You see, all of us incarnate and reincarnate until we are able to reach the Christ level. Now, this is where I was telling you, self-discipline, proper study of the nature of life, where, you know, who am I, where have I come from, why am I here, and where do I go from here? Now, then you have to learn how to meditate. Meditation is focusing your attention and your awareness and resting in spirit, your true nature. Okay? Now, when that happens, and it continues to happen, you begin to lose this idea of I am the body to I am spirit, because you are experiencing it consciously every day. And then your reliance will not be on the senses, your reliance will be on spirit. So you begin to activate this absolute reliance upon God. Proper communion with God, proper meditation, proper resting in your divine nature brings about absolute reliance upon God. You see, there's a story of a man who said he was converting to religion, and they said, okay, we have to baptize you, and we do that by immersing the whole body into a river, you know. So on the appointed time, pastor went, and you know, they took his clothes off, and then they said, well, I baptize you
in the name of the Father
and of the Son. That when they push him in, his hand will be out. Then pastor said, your whole body has to go in. So let's do it again. They did it about a few times, and then pastor said, please, what is the matter? He said, you see this ring is kukurujaga. It must not touch the river. If it touches the river, the powers are gone. But you see, if your God fails me, this one is there, so I must keep this. You know, that is not absolute reliance on God. You see, with God you don't have a plan B.
Yes, no.
You know, but he had a plan B.
Yes.
You know,
with God you don't even have a plan. You allow spirit to plan.
That's what I'm saying. You know, God's plan becomes your plan.
Your plan, yes.
You know, I don't have any will anymore. That is why we say, thy will be done. I don't have any will anymore. So God, you are the absolute intelligence. I am just learning to cooperate with you until...
Oh, that's a beautiful one.
Yes.
My God, my Father, while I stray far from thy home on life's rough way, oh, teach me from mine heart to say, thy will be done, thy will be done. So that place, you no more live, you allow God's will to come through you, fulfill itself through you.
Absolutely.
And that's why allegorically when he was living in the garden, he said, Father, if it's my will, my senses are still there. A little bit of it there. Metaphysics is still there. But nevertheless, not my will.
But
let this being called Jesus go into nothingness, and let only your will be done.
Amen.
That's why he also taught that I can of my own self do nothing. Until you reach that spiritual level where you are having total reliance that I can of my own self do nothing. There is no me to boast about. There's no me to feel proud about. There must only be God coming to its own glory in me and as me.
Absolutely.
I can of my own self do nothing. Means zero your pride, zero your life. You see, I used to tell people that Jesus never promised that he was going to save anybody. He said, whoever comes after me must deny himself, take up his own cross daily, and follow me, not once a week, daily. Deny yourself, that self that feels, it's me, brother Ishmael. Don't you know who I am?
Yeah.
I can show you where power lies.
Absolutely.
Fella will say, who are you, Re? Do you understand?
Who are you?
Who are you, Re? All right? That's, you see, that's being that feels like I have money. You know, I control people because I have money. No matter how rich you are, you don't feed the whole of Accra.
No.
You don't feed a portion of Accra. And then with all of your money, everything, today, when the hour comes and you exit the body, nothing in the world is yours.
That is one thing we have not learned. A lot of people have not learned.
People are living and people are living, they are not living. Because if you are not aware of who you are as a conscious spirit, then you are simply a walking dead. And to them, Jesus will say, let the dead bury.
Let the dead.
They are dead.
You see, ironically, we all must come to this point where we know that I am a spiritual being. Going through a human experience in order to awaken to my true nature. And that is what we do on planet Earth. Okay? You see, at first, a lot of people think they are human beings trying to become spiritual. Okay? But then, when you get to the understanding of why you are here, you begin to say, I am a spiritual being going through a human experience, going through a God-man experience, in order to shed that man, to awaken to my full glory. See, he says, glorify me with the glory of thine own self.
With the glory which I had with thee before the worlds were formed.
Yes. You understand?
When you were Jeremiah 1:5 again, when you were an idea in the mind of God, the glory that you had with him, he says, glorify me with that glory which I had with you before the world was
that formed. Consciousness, that consciousness of my oneness with God. I want that. Glorify me with the glory of thine own self. Okay? With the glory of thine own self. That consciousness of my oneness with thee. Nothing more, nothing less. I don't want anything less. I want God, and I want God now. That was his prayer.
That's correct.
And you see, a lot of times, we don't want God enough.
No.
You see, we think we want God
part-time.
Yes. But once...
No, the way we want God. I want a good wife, good money, have children, build houses, live in luxury, then have God for a bonus. Let me get all these. When I finish, then I will make time for God. Haven't you had occasions of people in your church who will tell you, Brother Sami, I've been so busy, because of the nature of the business, I've been so busy. When I get some time, next week I'll come. It's like telling the doctor, I've been so sick. Next week when I get well, I'll come to you. That's when you live with God.
And that's really, that's really sad.
Really?
That's really, really sad, because you see, if you think that you are doing your own business, and you want God to help you, you see, I'm doing my business. Bryce, pray for me for my business to go on. You see, no, that business belongs to God. The earth is the Lord's and its fullness thereof.
The world and they that dwell therein.
Yes. You see, so if you know that the whole world belongs to God, and God has given you your people, everything, you are a custodian. So you are accountable for all the people that are in your world. All those who you have attracted to yourself. You see, I've attracted this beautiful incarnation to myself. And we complement each other. Okay? To push him to be the best that he can ever be, and is to push me to be the best that I can ever be.
Yes.
You understand? And it goes for everyone. And if we can, that is what love one another means. That is what love one another means. You see, I must be able to see your true nature in its full glory, and you must be able to see my true nature in its full glory. If I see half of you, I'm not seeing the total picture. And so if I'm seeing half of you, then I must ask myself, what can I do to see the full you?
If we are to apply this practically in our life, what a world are we going to have? Let's even consider marriage. And you are in the marriage, excuse me, not because you are having a sex partner, not because you are going to have children, not because you're going to create wealth together, but I'm here to support you to be the highest and the best you can be.
Yeah.
I have a purpose in the marriage, and the purpose is that I'm here to see the wholeness of God that you are, and to enable you be a platform that supports you to evolve to the highest and the best you can be. Then it's no more about what you did wrong or what you didn't do wrong.
No,
I am here for, because of, excuse my language, because of your stupidity and the wrong things you do. That's why I was born. For a situation like this, I was born to be with you, to help you evolve your God nature. And you help me to evolve my God nature. Then there will be no tensions. When everything surrenders to
this is
the God nature.
You know, God didn't give Adam a wife. He gave him a helpmate. Isn't that right? He gave Adam a helpmate. Someone to help him to be the best that he can be. You know? And just like they say, behind every successful man, there is a woman. Behind every failure of a man too, there is a woman.
I love it, Sam.
You know, so what we need to do if we love one another is to help one another, you know, each and every one of us grow into our fullest glory, you know, and when we talk about the
so you don't even do business.
No.
You do business for God.
You see,
in other words, everything you have is to promote God consciousness.
Absolutely.
You know, Sam, this is what I've observed. And please let me speak very bluntly, nakedly, and rudely. When you go to churches where superstition is very strong, hellfire, brimstone, devil, and so on, you observe that there are thousands of people.
Yes.
And two, when they're going to give offertory, they give so much because they're afraid if they don't give, the devil will get hold of them. When people come to this truth halfway, I wouldn't say fully, then they start thinking, oh, there's no devil, there's no hell, some red, some $1, some one cedi, some one peswa is okay for God. Then you find them at the level where they're still looking at using spiritual power to just manifest loaves of bread and fishes.
Yes, for personal gain.
For personal gain. All right? And instead of surrendering that, you don't have a business. You don't have a marriage. You don't have anything. All is to be used to promote life. I've been in many businesses, you know.
Yeah.
I've even driven taxi. I was telling somebody that I have been a taxi driver before, and they didn't know, right? You have known me from all beginning. Papa low chair, selling fish and so on. And you know that there was only one thing. In what way do I become more to fulfill God? That's all. Because a time comes, we call it death. It comes for everyone at any time, when you will realize that nothing in this world is yours except what you are, what are you? And when the time comes, the only wealth you have is the wealth of your spirit. Your awakening, your awareness of yourself is the only property you have.
Absolutely. When you look at our time of exit from this world, you will find out that as you exit this world, if your focus has really been on God, then like the people who go through NDEs, near-death experiences, they will see as if they are going through a tube, a dark tube, a tunnel, at the end of which there is a bright light. And you will see that if they are not used to meditating and beholding the grandeurs of light that they are, when they see the light, they begin to, like the light is too much for them. And so the light begins to dim and dim and dim until it reaches a comfortable state. That comfortable state it reaches will become your state of consciousness that you exit this
That
world.
becomes your heaven.
Yeah.
Recently I'm teaching something that heaven is not a place you go, it's a place you create.
Yeah.
So create your heaven by your awareness.
Yeah.
Your awareness determines, and you see it's in scripture. 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verses 2 to 4, it says, I know a man in spirit about 14 years ago, whether in the body or out of the body, I do not know. Meaning there's in-body experience, there's out-of-body experience. And that man was caught up in the third heaven. If he was caught up in the third heaven, then there must be a second and a first. And if there's a second and a first and a third, possibly there's then a fourth, fifth, and more. Which heaven will you belong? To which heaven will you belong? So you are creating your heaven. And there are those who will be in the lower heavens, what we call the earthbound regions, and there you can see the world of emotions, world of senses. So in that world, if I hate him, he can see my hate. And if he's jealous, I can see his jealousy. Then we keep relating according to, hey, your hate, I don't like your hate. Then you see my jealousy. That is worse than hell. But that is what you created. It's the world you create. God is not a God who will put fire somewhere. Because if God encompasses every part of the universe, if he says fire, the fire will be burning in God.
Yes. See, that is what a lot of people don't really get it. One I think, was it Pope John Paul who said that there is no hell.
That hell is a state of consciousness.
It's a
state of mind.
It's a state of mind. It's a state of mind.
The Christians weren't happy when he said so. They weren't happy that he has to say that hell is a state of mind. I thought they would be happy that if hell is a state of mind, then
it is not the Christians. It is not the Christians who were not happy, because a Christian is one who has realized Christ. Thank you for the declaration. The churchgoers, the average churchgoers, the fundamentalists, the fundamentalists hated him for saying that. They hated him for saying that. But the truth is that, you see, ask yourself. The psalmist said, if I take the wings
of the wind, and I fly to the utmost part of hell, or the world, and even if I lay up my bed in hell,
behold, that one. So if wherever God is, wouldn't there be heaven? They say our Father in heaven. So wherever God is, will be heaven. So he's saying that even if I make my bed in hell, a state of, you are there, so you will turn that hell into heaven. And one time, I made this analogy. I said that, look, God loves me so much, so much that if I find myself on the desert, without any sign of water or food or anything, God will become water and food for my sake.
Yes.
And that is how we must absolutely rely
and
on
that's what Jesus sought to demonstrate.
Yeah.
When he multiplied the loaves of bread and fishes, then they were following him. He moved away. They were following him. And this man started lamenting that these people are following me not because they have seen the miracle.
Yes.
But because of loaves of bread and fishes. Now, look at it. The ordinary man will say, but you did a miracle. You multiplied loaves of bread and fishes and we ate in the wilderness. But what, to Jesus' mind, to his consciousness, that is no miracle.
No.
The miracle is the awakening to the consciousness that God loves me so much that in the wilderness of my life, God will become my supply.
Thank you.
When you awaken to that, then you have discovered the miracle. And then he went on, your fathers ate of the manna in the wilderness and they are dead. I mean, they ate manna every day for several years. That was greater feeding. He said they are what? Dead. So come to the consciousness, the manna that I will give you, that springs unto life everlasting. That was profound teaching.
Absolutely.
But you see, people read the Bible like Mills and Boone story. They don't read it as spiritual book, so they don't get this spiritual discernment, this spiritual understanding.
You see,
somebody must wake up.
My brother. That is why we are talking about conscious living, conscious
evolution.
Because if the person is on level 1, class 1, fundamental, and is thinking about sensory stuff, how can he, how can he suddenly, like intuit and get this?
So Jesus will say, if I speak of earthly things and you don't understand, how much more when I speak of heavenly things?
And that's why he said, do not cast your pearl before swine. Because you see, he will not be able to
let
see.
me share this. When we did the launching of our 40th anniversary, and we had some of these pressmen, they were interviewing me. Many of them were here. I wouldn't want to mention the station.
I know.
But it's like, so conscious evolution, when people are consciously evolved and they are practicing conscious evolution, conscious living, what benefit will they see? And I was explaining spiritual things, and she was like, so what benefit? No, I don't get it. Then at the point I realized that no. She wants me to explain conscious living according to the senses.
Yes. That's what I'm talking
So
about.
eventually I told her that everything is directed by spirit. So when you are spiritually full, spirit directs every other thing. Hence Jesus will say, seek ye first the kingdom of God, the kingdom of the spirit. Then everything else will be added. But the opposite is what everybody is seeking.
Yeah.
Some pastor is doing some miracle. Let me go. Recently you heard a story, I see 2-3 years ago, a pastor came from outside Ghana. People rushed to go for that holy water, and 4 died.
Yes, I remember.
You remember? And the miracle didn't resurrect those 4.
No.
And people are still going miracle chasing instead of activating the miracle presence that God is as, oh, I love Jesus, I love Jesus. Sammy, listen. Jesus said, only a wicked and adulterous generation seek for a miracle.
Yes. That is what I'm saying. No, that is what I'm saying, that people don't understand that a miracle must come from within yourself.
All right.
According to your faith.
First, you yourself, you are a living miracle.
Yes.
You are a wonderment of the universe. And you don't discover the miracle you are. You don't discover it in your environment. Because to breathe is a miracle. To raise a finger is a miracle. You don't know it until you get a stroke.
I was going to
all right.
People, they say anything of value is made more conspicuous in its absence. You see, you value life, or you value things when things
you don't have them.
Right.
When you lose them.
Yes. Because like you're saying, you see a person with stroke and can't really move the limbs, and you ask them, like maybe last week he could kick, and now you ask him, raise your leg, and God, and you say, wow. But then after some time, and healing begins to take place, and they can move the limb again, it's like,
miracle.
Wow, miracle. So there is level 1, living through the senses. Level 2, the superstitious level. Level 3, cause and effect. level 4 discipleship, level 5 master, level 6 Christ, level 7 supremely free. So one with God that you don't even would need a body to express, because to express through a body you need a little bit of ignorance.
Mm-hmm. You need to put on a bit of a maya.
Yes. Yes. In fact,
soul substance. You need to put on a bit of soul substance.
Because other than that, you can't live in this form.
Mm-hmm.
You always want out. I'm telling you. You see, this form is made up of atoms, and we call them cells. You only put prisoners in cells. So we find ourselves in prison there. That is why we want freedom. Yes. We want to be free from this prison. But you see, now when you awake, you don't see it as a prison anymore, but you see it as a tent. You see it as a tent. You see it as a tabernacle, a place where God lives to bless his world. So you can say to yourself, I am that point where God blesses his world. I am the point where God... Yes, because God has assumed a viewpoint as you. God is looking through this world as you. And so you are that point, that viewpoint, that God blesses his world. That is when you are open. When you have awakened fully, you see that, when people say, God bless you, you tell them, I'm a blessing. Because God now blesses the world through me. So I am a blessing.
You become a channel through whom God is manifesting himself.
Amen.
God is revealing himself.
So when we talk about our conscious living, conscious evolution, you know the steps. You need to climb up. It calls for diligent work. And also, we must be very sincere. You see, a lot of people are not finding this path because they are not sincere. If you are sincere, if you really, they say, when the disciple is ready, the master appears. You see, a lot of people think that when they find God, they'll become poor because God will take everything away from them. But Jesus said that Jesus' theory of fulfillment is seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, the state of spirit, the state of God consciousness, right thinking, right feeling, right action. Okay?
That's
and then
righteousness.
Right, and then all, you attract. You become a magnet which will attract only good, only the activity, because that is what you are broadcasting. So that is what will be coming to you. And anything, you will be able to quicken that God presence in others also, because when I say you'll be able to quicken, you'll be able to see through the facade. Okay? When we say persona, ego, a mask, persona is a mask. So you'll be able to see through the mask, through the kakamo to be.
The masquerade.
And then call forth the divinity. You cannot do that on the first two rungs or the third rung. And so if you are following people on those first three levels, they say if the blind leads the blind,
they both go to the ditch.
Thank you. And I really feel blessed to have this platform for us to share.
Oh, we really have to continue this. And when we talk about conscious living, conscious evolution, I believe you've got a very good exposition from my brother. Your value is not measured by what you have in terms of properties or even in terms of your own human intelligence. Your value is measured by the awareness of what you have of your own God self. We are here primarily for one thing, to evolve. In Scripture, Bible says that God formed man, God created man in God's blessed man and said, be fruitful and multiply, replenish the earth and subdue it and be in dominion. That was what we call the original blessing. You have been blessed and you can never be cursed. But that blessing is also your evolutionary imperative. Because that blessing says, I've created you in my image and likeness. So God is the very seed, the essence, the ens semine of your soul. So God being your essence is saying, be fruitful of my essence. And in addition, multiply. You are fruitful, multiply means be more, and then more. And replenish the earth, evolve more. And subdue it, evolve more. And have dominion. So 5 blessings. Be fruitful and multiply, replenish the earth, subdue it, and have dominion. How many fingers do you have? 5. When you stand and stretch both arms and feet, how many points do you see? 5. You are the very star of God. You are here to reveal the fullness of God's presence as your life. You did not bring yourself here. You were here, whatever it is. Bible says, before I formed you, I know you. And when you came here, you did not bring you here. And you cannot afford not to exit from here. Within this window of eternity, you are here for one purpose, to evolve your God essence for the promotion of life. When you came here, life was here waiting for you. You are a unit of life from life here in life for the promotion of life. Every resource you have is to be used for the promotion of life. You always need to ask yourself when you wake up every morning, what glory of God am I seeking to express today? Your prayer should be the invocation of the power presence of the love, the joy, peace, wisdom, spirit of love, spirit of wisdom. Rise up in me today and minister as my life. We have some milestones we can use in the life of the great Yeshua, who the world called Jesus, the Buddha, Krishna, Lao Tzu, the great prophet Muhammad, peace be unto him. All these are well spiritual masters and teachers who have exemplified some quality of God. You can use them as your anchorage to see what the glory of God is like, so that you can activate the same and even higher in you. I continue to invite you to join us in our services. Reverend Sasu has a whole ministry, Center for Spiritual Awareness. You meet in Adaraka, am I right?
Yeah, for now.
For now.
We are going to move to behind the trade fair very soon.
So very soon they'll be moving behind the trade fair, but you can, from the telephone number you're seeing on the screen now, you will know how to contact Center for Spiritual Awareness, and you know at your mission. In this year, 2015, we are celebrating our 40th anniversary. We have lined up of activity. Every month has a theme. Please check the details on our website so you know the theme for every month. It's been very wonderful, high-level spiritual teachings like the one you've just received from my brother, all right, so that we can together help ourselves to evolve. We are here to evolve for the promotion of life means I am here to evolve, to bring out the best out of you, to push the best out of him, call forth the innate good out of him. If I don't see it, I will dig it. So dig the good, dig the God out of everybody. Your life is to promote life. Life did not bring you here for yourself. There is no you that can be promoted. Life brought you as a unit of its own self for the promotion of its own self. Be conscious. Wake up and know that you are a unit of life here for the promotion of life. And to do that, you have to evolve your God essence. Hence our theme, conscious living, conscious evolution. Consciously aware of who and what you are in your body, in your mind, in your spirit. And capturing the supreme essence, the supreme God essence of your being. And allowing this to shine through you. Beloved, join us in all of our 40th anniversary celebrations and beyond. And from this moment, I know you are also part of Ethereum mission. By the way, Ethereum simply means heaven. We are about anchoring heaven on earth. In other words, awakening the God presence in everybody. Peace be your life. I love you so much.